We are 60 seconds away from the one and only Harrison Hunter Reid. Welcome to hashtag Rise and Grind, Harrison. How are you, sir?
I am doing incredible. I'm so grateful to be here on your podcast live at 5:30 in the morning, helping people wake up.
Yeah,
and the quote you shared this morning was so powerful because if I look back into my life, I can see all of the different times in my life I leveled up. It happened to be when I started surrounding myself with new people.
Yeah, man.
And so to me, proximity is so powerful and you hear it all the time, but until you practice it, you never really understand the importance of who you surround yourself with. So I think it's a really great quote to start Friday morning.
Absolute fact, man. What a way to start Friday morning. How about that? and what better way to start than with a little dancing, right? A little dancing, a little music, little high energy, and an introduction to my man, Harrison Reid. Here, Harrison, do me a favor. In 60 to 120 seconds, can you just tell everybody that's joining us this morning, who are you, man? Who are you? What are you doing? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Wow. Okay, sure. I'll start out of the ordinary. The purpose of my life, and I share this on my site, it's in my bio, is really to, one, embody love, to truly deep down, authentically love myself in order to love others authentically. Because until you love yourself, you can't share love. You just have a bucket that you keep giving and giving and giving, and you empty it. And then you need to spend all this time refilling your bucket. Whereas if you could start with an overflowing bucket of love, you can then share that out. The next purpose of my life is to share extreme abundance. I actually grew up in a great household, great parents. We had enough money. And because we had enough money, I always felt like I wasn't necessarily, it wasn't mine. And so I actually grew up in an abundant household with a huge scarcity mindset. And it took me 20, 25 years to get out of that. And I want to share that abundance mindset with the world and allow others to feel abundant, regardless of the background that they came from. And then the last purpose of my life is just to inspire others to feel alive. Like that's why we're on this planet. We're not on this planet to just go by, do what we're supposed to do and survive life. We're supposed to live life and enjoy every minute of our existence. Like that's why we're here. We're here to not only, make the world a better place and inspire others, but we're here to have fun. And I want to inspire other people to have more fun and more enjoyment and more fulfillment in their life.
My goodness, dude. This is gonna be a fun interview. You and I got some synergies. What a way to come right out the gate, dude. How strong is that? I like how you said the purpose of my life. Right? We've been talking this week about devouring your desires and how in order to do that, you have to be really rooted, right? Like you've got to have these roots. You got to know what your mission, your vision, your values are. It's got to be a straight line in order for you to really be able to go out there and attack. So I love that you just lead right out there, embody love, extreme abundance, and inspiring others. What a gift. I like that you also mentioned your parents, right? And you mentioned that because that was actually one of the things that I wrote down. I noticed in your bio, you mentioned you've gotten fired from a lot of jobs, You had created like an event company at 18 years old. And so I was asking myself, I'm like, I wonder what this kid's upbringing was like for him to. It seems like you're a worker, right? You've worked, you've had jobs, you've been working since you were very young. I know, you know, my daughter's 20. She works, don't get me wrong, but I know a lot of young people are not working that hard, right? Let's just face it. They're going to school, they're doing the thing. Mommy and daddy paid for school. They're like, I ain't got time to get a job. But it sounds like you've been working since a very early age. So tell me a little bit more about that. So mom and dad had some bread. You guys were good, but yet you had this scarcity mentality and you've been working hard for a long time. Where do you think that comes from?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. I definitely think that my dad is an inspiration. My dad, he's 60 years old. Probably doesn't want me to share that he's watching right now. Um, but my dad, my whole life has worked incredibly hard. He was gone before we went to school. He was home sometimes in time for dinner. He really made a point to get home in time for dinner, but he didn't always, because he would work 12 hours a day every day. And even when he wasn't in, he'd be in the office 12 hours a day every day. And even when he wasn't in the office, he'd be working. So I had great inspiration from my dad, and he's had this amazing transformation in his life where the purpose of his life right now is to make the world a better place. And he's doing that through, teaching investors how to put their money to work, doing good while also make money. It's called impact investing, and it's really fascinating and phenomenal. And he's really, trying to lead the charge in that. So that's beautiful. And then the other part is growing up with this scarcity mindset. My parents had bread, but I didn't feel like I was deserving of it, right? I didn't make it. And so I tried hard to it's not my bread, right? My parents did pay for college. They were really amazing, and that was super helpful. But I hated spending their money in other ways. I didn't want to buy silly things with their money. And so if I wanted to buy a silly thing, I would have to go out and buy it myself. And so I was fortunate enough to have great parents that were inspiring. They pushed me to work. I started working in a gym when I was 14, doing an assistant personal training and assistant. I used to teach people self-defense when I was 14, which was really incredible.
That's
And,
awesome.
I think that I struggled growing up a lot with depression. And I think something that really helped me get out of depression is just, how can I help other people? Because depression is really an internal thing. It's what's wrong with me? Why aren't I good enough? What am I doing wrong? But when you get out of that and you're okay, what can I do for others? You can free yourself of this depression. And so, all of the stuff I did in my life, it was, what can I do for others? Can I help them get into shape and be stronger and be able to protect themselves? And then my event company, we were raising money for charities. So it was how can we help people have a really great time while benefiting the world? My second company, it was in the finance business. It was, how could I bring ethics and morals into a business that is devoid of that, and then help remove the biggest stressor of people's lives, which is finances. And I noticed in one of your recent podcasts, you talked about divorce and how prevalent it is. And what the number one cause of divorce generally is finances. So I started that business in order to help people get out of that stress. And then the business that I'm doing now, the healthy food, which I'm sure we'll talk about later,
Sure.
it's, how could we help those that struggle with weight issues take control of their life, take control of their health, and live a great quality of life without having to make any changes.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful. I love those. I love those words that battling depression is an inside job, right? It's an
It
inside
is.
job, and the best way to do it is to outwardly pour into and serve others. So much truth to that, man. So much truth. We're going to dive into some of these things that you're doing, these ways that you're serving other people that I think are just absolutely fantastic. We're going to dive into that a little bit more. I do want to back up just a second, all right? Because this is a morning show. This is a morning show and it's early and we got a bunch of early risers on here, and I've studied success. I've studied success for years and years and years, and it seems like every successful person I know has some type of disciplined morning routine, right? They've got something that they do, that they wake up every day, kind of keeps them grounded, so on and so forth. So I want to ask yours real quick. Share with the audience, how do you start your day every day?
Sure. I wake up,
That's
get
good.
out of
That's a
bed.
good start.
Yeah. Yeah. The first thing I do when I get out of bed, and a lot of people talk about this, Tim Ferriss, David Goggins, is I make my bed. Because really, I gave a talk on productivity recently, and one of the most important things to being productive in your day is to set your mind to being productive. I call it productivity mode. It's not really a fancy word, but when you make your bed first thing in the morning, what you do is you accomplish something. You were productive. You completed a task, and now your brain knows, oh, today we're completing tasks, we're being productive. So every morning I make my bed. After I make my bed, I tend to read for between 10 to 20 minutes just to grow my mind. I find that this is the best time of day to get my learning in and education.
No doubt.
And I think that the most important thing in life is learning, more than anything. And then after that, I have breakfast, and breakfast to me is really, really important. I mean, I have a health food company, and my belief is, or not my belief, science shows that cravings are started by, and I hope I'm not going too deep into this for the morning.
No, you're good.
But cravings are started by a lack of nutrients in our body. Every bodily process needs certain nutrients to function. In order for us to, refill our ATP and have energy, we need, certain B vitamins. And if we don't have that, our body craves that. And the longer you go throughout the day without fulfilling the nutrients, the stronger your cravings get. And the stronger your cravings get is when you start to crave those unhealthy foods, like the processed foods or the heavy caloric foods. So in the morning, after I make my bed, after I read, I try to flood my body with nutrients, just to settle that down and to remove cravings for later in the day. So like this morning, I woke up, made my bed, I read, and then what I did was I ate, I don't know if you know a pitahaya. It's one of my favorite fruits in Colombia. I think it's like a dragon fruit in the US.
Oh yeah.
I had a pitahaya, and then I had an apple, and then I had a salad with olive oil and apple cider vinegar. And now I'm just flooded with nutrients. Like, this is going to take me throughout the day without any unhealthy cravings. It's going to help me eat healthy throughout the day. Gives me energy. I feel great. And I'm ready to do whatever the day needs me to do.
Right.
Like, show up with energy and inspiration at 5:30 in the morning. My favorite time of day.
I am awful at what I eat. I am a horrible eater. I've always been a horrible eater. I want it to like taste good. I want it to, I want it now. I want it quick. I'm a car guy. We ain't got time. We got to like just shove this food down. Whatever process, just give it to me. I don't care if it's processed. I don't care who made it. I don't care how long it's been sitting in the refrigerator. Heat that sucker up in the microwave. Let's freaking roll, right? And I know that there are a lot of people on here that are like that, right? We got some car people that are watching the show, follow me, and we just have these crazy routines and structures where we're at work early, we're at work late, and we eat when we can, and we eat fast. And so I'm fascinated by one of the things that it said in your bio is it said that you created like healthy snack food that like people want to eat, right? Like stuff. So tell me a little bit about that, and then I want to talk about this world traveling that you do, like Colombia. And how old are you again? John Paul just asked in here. He said, how old are you?
I'm 26.
26. I
Yeah.
love this guy. So tell me a little bit about these healthy snack foods that are going to fulfill my craving for a Snickers bar or a bag of Doritos.
Yes, exactly. Right on. Yeah, so I eat crazy. I grew up struggling with obesity. It was part of the reason why I was so depressed, and I worked so hard to, change my mindset, change how I look at food, change the way I eat. And I went through, 10 years of this. And, I understand today I eat like a madman. Like I eat the same thing over and over and over again. Not chicken and broccoli every single meal, because, the whole way that fitness people eat, there's a purpose to that. It's to look good. But if you eat chicken and broccoli every single meal, you're not going to feel good, because you're getting the same nutrients over and over again when you need a wide variety. So I eat,
I like that.
these big meals that are, have heavy variety, but then I eat it every single meal, which is crazy. Not everyone is going to do that. And that's okay. You don't have to. And so I had a lot of pain when I struggled with obesity and depression, and it was, really terrible. And all I wanted was to be happy. And I found happiness in my new life, in my new body, in my new way of eating. And I wanted to bring that to other people, have conversations with a lot of people. And eating healthy isn't necessarily the struggle. It's junk food, right? They could eat healthy every meal, and then they eat these junk foods when they're in a rush, or they're just like starving and craving something, or they're stressed and they're depressed and they just need some sort of relief. And so what we're creating is something to replace that habit, right? You want that junk food. It's going to give you that, that flavor you want, or it's going to give you that convenience, or it's going to give you that emotional release. And we want to give that to you in a way that is massively positive. So the whole purpose of our company, I said it before, we want to help those that struggle with weight issues take control of their health, live a more vibrant life by producing radically healthy versions of the food they already love. So you mentioned Snickers and Doritos. So the first product we're launching on March 9th on Kickstarter with is a Doritos type product. It's a seasoned tortilla chip. It's completely plant-based. We don't have chemicals. We don't have flavorings. We don't have sweeteners. We don't have sugar. We don't have ingredients you can't pronounce. We have really good macronutrients. We preserve the micronutrients as best we can by not frying or baking the chip at high temperatures. And it tastes like a Dorito, and it's going to do a lot of good for your body. It's going to put some nutrients in your body. It's going to help you feel great. It's going to give you energy. You're going to start thinking clear. Food is really important for our brain health and the way our brain functions and the way we think.
Sure.
And, we have really healthy fats, we have good protein, we have fiber in this, junk food type thing. And that's what we're making. We're trying to bring it to the world as quickly as we can, because we understand people need this, right? People love junk food. I love junk food. Doritos growing up for me was spiritual.
Right.
It was, and I want that back in my life. And we're just we're just trying to give that to people.
I love it, man. I love it. That's exciting. I will be following. I will be very, very interested in that. You and I need to stay connected far beyond this show, because we have I'm a little biased towards the auto industry, because that's just my dig. That's my gift that God gave me, and we are horrible. We eat really, really bad in this industry. It's got to change. I mean, a standard car person diet is wake up, energy drink, sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddle from McDonald's, energy drink, coffee, energy drink, Domino's pizza for lunch, energy drink, cheeseburger, coffee at 5 p.m. Like, that's fairly standard. Like, if I were to write out the menu for the car business, that's what it would look like, with tons of candy and chips, in between to just keep rolling. So that's super exciting, man. Now, I want to talk about the world traveling side of you, because you're 26 years old, you're sitting in Colombia, you're developing companies, you're changing the world, you're serving people, you're making this massive impact. So let's just talk a little bit about that. A lot of people don't really like travel. Like my wife, she's never been anywhere, man. I took her to Cancun. It was the first time she'd ever gone anywhere, and that's not even really like traveling. That's like United States over in another country. You know what I mean? So share with me this world traveling side of you. Why is that important to you? And where do you see, what do you get out of that? What's the value in that for you?
So I sold my second business it was the first business I sold. The first one didn't sell. But the second business that I started, I sold in April of last year. And at the time, my ex-girlfriend and I were going through a breakup. And I was living in an apartment with, four near and dear close friends of mine. And they had a very different mindset than I do. Like I still love them. They're awesome people. They're still in my life, but we had a different mindset at the time. And so I knew I needed to remove myself, right? To change my proximity, to change my projection, because I really wanted to start this amazing company that's going to help people take control of their health. And so I wanted to get out of my apartment. I was going through a breakup and I sold the business. There was no reason for me to be in New York anymore. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to get out of here. And so I joined a program called Remote Year, which for the most part is for people who are able to work from abroad. And you travel together. It was 27 of us. We lived in different countries every single month.
Wow.
And it's hard to just leave by yourself in the beginning.
Sure.
Which is really interesting because, after you live in these other countries, you realize like lifestyle in other countries, like cultures are different. Food is totally different.
Yeah, no doubt.
But people are people. Like we're all the same. We want the same things. We are very similar. So living in other countries isn't super mind blowing. It's fun. It's nice. I'm in Colombia in Medellin right now, and it kind of feels like I'm in the US. Like there's cool people, there's good food, there's good energy here. So I was really fortunate to find that program and, get over that. It's just a fear at the beginning. It's like, oh, living in a foreign country is crazy. It's scary. You could live in a foreign country and not speak the language. We're very blessed to speak English because you could live in almost any country and get by, and it's easy and it's fun. But you asked, like, what do I get out of travel?
Yeah, man.
Besides seeing the world and seeing other cultures, you understand really quick that, all people are the same, and, countries and wars are kind of ridiculous. Not countries are ridiculous, but wars are ridiculous. We're just fighting ourselves. But, one of the things that I got out of it that I never thought I would is when you're living out of a suitcase, traveling from country to country, it's really important what's in that suitcase. In every country I go to, I look like, what can I leave? What don't I need in my life? And that really translates to more than just your suitcase. When you get back to work, you're like, what tasks am I doing that I don't need, that I could be free of, so that I could have more energy to do what I need to do? And it's like, what friends in my life that maybe should be in my life less than they are right now, so that I could be hanging out with people that inspire me all the time. And it's like, what parts of my life that I just don't need in order to live the best, like that don't fit my vision for my ultimate life. And I learned all of that through traveling and just leaving clothes in every city that I went to.
Right. Man,
Yeah.
I love that. I love that concept. I love that thought, because we do, right? Like when we're traveling, I'm getting ready. I'm going to be on the road like 17 days in February. And I'm already starting to think like, all right, what do I got to have? What can I leave behind? What's not valuable? What's not an asset? What's not as important? Here I've got all my comfort stuff, but out there it's necessities only, right? And I actually thrive in those environments because I am focused. I am dialed in on the one task at hand, during that experience. And so I love that as a takeaway. Like, that's not just important for your suitcase. It's important for your life, because we get so cluttered with so much stuff and people and things. And man, you are wise beyond your years. I love it. And the one thing I don't love about my interviews on Fridays, they go so fast, man. Like, we're already at 6:00. We're already over time, but it's been so great. And I could talk to you for hours on end if we had it. However, we do have to be respectful of people's morning routines, right? They're getting ready for work, so on and so forth. So here's one thing that I want to do before we let them go, and you and I maybe have a little more conversation conversation off the record. But before we let them go, I do want to do something. I want to take you, Harrison. I want to put you up on top of a mountain, man. Right? Like you're up on top of a mountain and all of civilization, like literally all of civilization is at the base of the mountain. They're looking up at you and they're cheering. They're like, Harrison, 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 right? They're cheering, they're cheering, they're cheering. And you've got 2 minutes to drop something on them, some type of practical wisdom, something they can apply in their life today, this week, this month, this year, that's going to impact their lives forever. What are you going to tell them?
I hate this drill. 2 minutes. So what I would tell them is, and we've talked about it in this interview, and I talked about it with you before this interview. I don't know if you knew what I was doing, but basically, the most important thing we have in our life is why, right? You know, so many people are looking for the meaning of life. Well, you make it, you create it, you know, and that's so important in what we do every day, why we wake up, what gives us energy, right? All of my businesses had some sort of mission. And, you know, maybe an events company doesn't sound like a mission-based company, but the way I looked at it was, and that's what gave me energy and allowed me to be successful. You know, for you, you know, you talked about how in the first half of the business, you did it for 7 years and, you know, you did well, but, you know, your life spiraled out of control. And then you moved to Kentucky, you met a girl, you had a kid, and you got back into that business because you wanted to create a great, amazing life for your kid. I have a friend, he does marketing consulting. He works for a big conglomerate, IBM. Like, why would you go to work every day? Like, that sounds terrible. But what he does is he helps financial companies market their products so they could reach people like his grandmother, and his grandmother can get the fixed income product she needs to survive through and have the money she needs every single day. Like, he goes to work at IBM, you know, a seemingly boring company, because every day he knows if he doesn't do his job, you know, his grandmother won't have the money she needs to feed herself or to pay rent or to have the pleasures in her life she wants. So if I had 2 minutes and I was standing on a mountaintop, just figure out exactly why you're doing what you do. And, you know, maybe that is cause to change what you're doing. Maybe it's just a fuel for what you are doing. Anything we do, there are reasons behind it. And when you uncover those reasons, the powerful ones, that just fuels you to be 10 times more successful, 100 times more successful than you would be without really remembering every day, like, I need to go to work so my grandmother could eat. Like, how powerful is that? Like, if that was really your truth, you would fucking wake up at 5:30, go to work, be the most productive employee out of the entire company, and just absolutely crush it to save your grandma's life. Yeah.
I love
That's what I would say.
Uncover the why. And if you figure out that the why doesn't align with what you're doing, then get the heck out of what you're doing, right? Get the heck out of there. Uncover the why. And there's so much truth to that, man. You are an incredibly wise, amazing human being. I am so thankful that you decided to join us here on hashtag Rise and Grind. Clearly, you are this amazing child of God, uniquely made by the God of the universe to be the best version of yourself that you could possibly be. And you're living it, man. You're living it. And the decisions that you are making, they're making a massive impact clearly on your friends, your family members. And today you've made a massive impact on us, bro. And I, for one, absolutely love you for it. Thank you so much for joining us here on hashtag Rise and Grind. I hope you enjoyed it, man.
I had a blast. Thank you so much for having me. And, you know, I will definitely try to be on the show again as a viewer, because there's total immense value that you offer your audience.
Oh, thanks, man.
And
You're
I think
awesome.
that's amazing.
So how can my audience get more of you? Where do you want them to, how do they follow you? You want them to follow you here on Facebook, anywhere you want to send them?
Sure. Instagram would be my main sort of source of service.
Okay.
You know, I put videos of my talks. So if you can't, you know, pay, you know, hundreds or thousands of dollars and travel across the country or the world to attend my talks, I cut them up into the best nuggets from each talk and I offer them out to my audience. I also am starting my own podcast. I would love for you to be a guest. You are totally inspiring.
Thanks, man.
And that will also go on my Instagram. And then if you want updates for when our food product is ready and launching, because you're tired of eating this crappy food that makes you feel like crap all the time, and you want to eat a food that you're going to enjoy as much and feel great, well, I'll update you through my Instagram. So find me on Instagram. It's at Harrison Hunter Reid. It's on the board. At Harrison Hunter Reid. Spelled like that.
Right?
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm going to go say goodbye to everybody watching here. If you'll hang out here in the green room for just a second, if you don't mind, and then I'll come back to you. I need to get your address and stuff. We got to get you some Rise and Grind gear. We got to do a couple things before I let you go. But with that said, what about that guy? Are you kidding me? 26 years old, profound, embodies love, extreme abundance, inspiring others. It's how he lives his life, and I love the 2-minute takeaway. Are you kidding me? Dude, if everyone, think about for the leaders that I have, in that watch the show, all the leaders out there, think about if all of your people understood their why, man. Imagine how much more effort and energy and the greatness you could extract out of your people if they knew, like, this isn't just a job, like, I'm here to feed grandma. Like, that's powerful, right? If I was there to feed grandma, are you kidding me? I'd be a top producer. Well, I'm a top producer anyway, but that's because I have lots of whys. As a matter of fact, I got 7 kids to take care of, so plenty of whys there. But listen, thank you guys for joining in. One of the best things you can do, the best way you can honor our guests that come on our show, is you can share this out. Let's share Harrison out as far and wide as we can. Also, if you would, please follow him on Instagram. Blow him up with messages. Let him know that you came from Rise and Grind and that you appreciated him being with us this morning. It means so much to me when you do that. Most importantly, though, I want you to have an incredible weekend. Over the top. I really enjoyed this series, Devour Your Desires. I hope that you did too. We learned from Martin Luther King. We learned from Danelle Delgado. We learned from, who did we have on Wednesday? We had Martin, then we had Danelle. We learned from, how did I forget him? We learned from Jesus. And then we learned from trees, if you can imagine. And then we finished it all up by learning from my man Harrison. So incredible week. Thanks for being with me. I hope that you will join me again next week on Monday at 5:30 a.m. on #Rise and Grind.